Did you know that some of the vegetables seniors eat every day could actually be quietly damaging their vision? It sounds surprising, even a little upsetting, but eye specialists say they've seen it time and time again in older adults. Many seniors have high eye pressure, dry eyes, and blurry vision. They take vitamins and use eye drops, thinking they're helping, but some vegetables they eat might be making it worse. In this video, we're going to walk through 5 vegetables that seniors should either avoid or consume very carefully. They're not bad for everyone, but if you're over 60 and noticing changes in your vision, these could be part of the problem, and no one tells you about them. Not your friends, not the people at the grocery store, and sometimes not even your general doctor. But as you age, your eyes become more sensitive to inflammation, circulation problems, and even vitamin imbalances. That's why it's so important to know what you're really putting into your body and how it affects your vision. Each vegetable we'll discuss today is commonly eaten, and most are even praised as being healthy. But for older adults, especially those struggling with dry eyes, high eye pressure, or early signs of macular degeneration, they can quietly do harm over time if you're not careful. So stay with me until the very end of this video, because the last vegetable we'll talk about is one that many people eat with the best intentions, but it could be raising your risk for retinal damage without you even knowing it. Let's get into it. Number 1, raw onions. Raw onions might seem like an innocent, flavorful addition to a salad or sandwich, but for many older adults, they could be contributing to a problem you feel every single day: irritated, watery, or overly dry eyes. You see, onions contain high levels of sulfur compounds, especially when they're raw. These compounds are the reason your eyes sting and tear up when you slice them. That reaction isn't just a nuisance, it's a direct sign that your tear glands are being overstimulated and inflamed. Now, in younger people, this usually isn't a problem. Their tear film recovers quickly. But as we age, our eyes become more sensitive and our ability to produce healthy, balanced tears starts to decline. That's why so many seniors struggle with dry eye syndrome or a constant burning sensation. And when your eyes are already fragile, constantly exposing them to tear-triggering chemicals, even natural ones like onion vapor, can make things worse. Many older folks say, "But I only eat a few slices, or it's raw, so it's healthy, right?" And that's where the confusion lies. Raw vegetables can be great, but not when they're irritating one of the most delicate parts of your body every time you prepare or eat them. It's not just the vapor. When you cut onions, even after they're on your plate, the compounds can linger in the air, especially in small kitchens or poorly ventilated areas. There's also the issue of residual inflammation. Studies show that repeated exposure to sulfur compounds like those in onions can increase oxidative stress in the tear ducts. That stress, over time, can affect how your eyes stay lubricated, and that can lead to everything from blurry vision to a higher risk of corneal scratches. Take Henry, a 76-year-old I once consulted. He made a point of eating fresh raw onions in his salad every night, but he also kept rubbing his eyes and complaining of a gritty feeling he just couldn't shake. When he took a break from raw onions and replaced them with steamed veggies for just 2 weeks, the redness and discomfort significantly improved. He never realized the food he thought was boosting his health was quietly making his eyes worse. Now, this doesn't mean you need to ban onions from your home forever. Cooked onions, especially lightly sautéed or roasted, lose much of their tear-inducing power. The sulfur compounds break down during cooking and become far less irritating. So, if you love the taste, consider preparing them differently. But if you're over 60 and you're experiencing eye discomfort, especially that watery yet dry paradox, take a look at your raw onion habit. It might be time to dial it down or swap it out for something gentler on your eyes. Because in your later years, even small irritants can have a bigger impact than you think. Number 2, nightshades like eggplant. Nightshade vegetables, especially eggplant, might look harmless on your plate, but there's more going on inside your body than you may realize. These vegetables contain a group of natural compounds called alkaloids, which can trigger low-grade inflammation in sensitive individuals. For seniors, particularly those already experiencing vision issues or autoimmune responses, this quiet inflammation can show up in ways that aren't easy to spot until your eyesight starts to change. Eggplant, along with tomatoes and peppers, is one of the most common nightshades. And while these foods can be nutritious for many people, they've also been linked to inflammatory reactions in people with underlying conditions like arthritis, high blood pressure, or autoimmune disorders. What does that have to do with your eyes? A lot more than you might think. Your eyes are full of tiny, delicate blood vessels and soft tissues that rely on healthy circulation and minimal inflammation to function properly. When you're younger, your body does a good job of filtering out mild irritants. But as we age, our systems become more sensitive, and chronic low-grade inflammation can start to affect the tiny capillaries that feed the retina and optic nerve. That inflammation doesn't always feel like a sharp pain. It may show up instead as blurry vision, light sensitivity, or a slight swelling around the eye that you can't quite put your finger on. One woman I spoke with, Carol, age 72, was dealing with frequent puffy eyes and what she called shadow vision in her periphery. She had no idea it could be tied to her diet, but when she took a 30-day break from all nightshades, including the grilled eggplant she loved to eat twice a week, her vision clarity improved. The puffiness around her eyes subsided. She said she hadn't realized her eyes felt foggy until they didn't anymore. Another important point is that eggplant has a compound called niacin, found mainly in the skin. While niacin is an antioxidant, it also binds to iron. For some older adults, especially those with borderline anemia or poor nutrient absorption, this can reduce the iron available for your eyes. And that's a problem. Iron is crucial for oxygen transport to the retina, and any interference with that process can affect how your eyes process light, color, and motion. This doesn't mean every person over 60 has to give up eggplant completely, but it does mean you should listen to your body. If you've noticed your eyes feeling heavier, more sensitive, or foggy after meals that include nightshades, pay attention. Keep a food journal. Watch for patterns. Even a mild sensitivity can create chronic stress inside your body. And with your eyes being as delicate as they are, you don't want to ignore the signs. Sometimes, just reducing how often you eat eggplant or removing the skin before cooking can make a noticeable difference. As always, it's about protecting what matters most. Vision changes in older adults often come from a combination of small things. But when you identify the small things and adjust them, you protect your long-term quality of life. Your sight is worth that extra awareness. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Nutrient delivery to your eyes. Oxalates bind with calcium in the body. That doesn't sound like a problem until you realize that those bindings can form tiny crystals, calcium oxalate, which are known to contribute to kidney stones and, more subtly, to circulation issues in smaller blood vessels, including those that supply oxygen to the retina. Why does this matter? Because your eyes are incredibly dependent on a steady, clean blood supply. Anything that restricts that flow even slightly can starve the delicate tissues of oxygen and antioxidants over time. This may increase your risk of developing retinal disorders or amplify existing eye conditions, like macular degeneration. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Most seniors eat these greens because they're trying to do the right thing. Maybe you've heard that spinach is good for your heart, your bones, or your immune system, and in many ways, it is. But eating large servings every single day, especially in raw form, can lead to oxalate buildup that puts silent pressure on parts of your body you're not even thinking about, like your optic nerve. There's also the vitamin K factor. While vitamin K is important for bone health and blood clotting, excessive amounts can interfere with medications like blood thinners, which many older adults are prescribed. This can further complicate how well your eyes and your whole body respond to minor vascular issues. Let me share a story. Ruth, an 81-year-old widow, had been eating a large spinach salad every day for lunch, believing it was keeping her strong. But she started experiencing subtle double vision and what she described as a grayish haze that would come and go throughout the day. After some basic blood work and a food review, we realized she had elevated oxalate levels. Once she reduced her intake of spinach and switched to low oxalate greens like arugula and romaine, the haze disappeared within a few weeks. That change didn't cost her anything. She still got her nutrients, her fiber, and her sense of eating well, but without the hidden risk. So, what should you do if you love spinach or Swiss chard? First, rotate your greens. Don't rely on the same one every day. Cook them lightly to reduce oxalate levels. Steaming is great for this. And if you're taking calcium or magnesium supplements, be sure to separate them from high oxalate meals so your body doesn't get overwhelmed all at once. Your goal is to support your eye health for the long haul. That doesn't mean banning vegetables from your plate. It means understanding which ones to be careful with, especially as your body becomes more sensitive with age. Because the truth is, most eye conditions in seniors don't start with a sudden event. They build up slowly over months or years, and often the foods we think are helping are quietly tipping the scale in the wrong direction. With spinach and Swiss chard, a little moderation and variety can go a long way in keeping your vision clear and protected. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, Please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, high sodium vegetables. Canned and pickled vegetables might seem like convenient staples, easy to store, easy to eat, and packed with flavor. But what many older adults don't realize is that these salty foods can quietly raise your blood pressure, and in doing so, slowly damage the sensitive blood vessels in your eyes. It's not about the vegetables themselves. It's about what's added to them. Most canned and pickled vegetables are preserved with high amounts of sodium. For younger people, their bodies can often buffer the effects, but as we age, our blood vessels naturally stiffen, and our eyes become especially vulnerable to shifts in pressure and circulation. A high sodium diet may contribute to elevated intraocular pressure, and for seniors, this can increase the risk of conditions like glaucoma and hypertensive retinopathy, both of which can cause gradual and permanent vision loss. Your retina, the thin layer at the back of your eye, depends on a network of tiny, delicate blood vessels to deliver oxygen and remove waste. When those vessels are strained from chronic high blood pressure or sodium imbalance, they become narrower, stiffer, and more fragile over time. This restricts blood flow and leads to damage. You may not notice it right away, just a bit more glare at night, slower focusing, or eyes that feel more tired than they used to, but that slow decline can accelerate if the root causes are never addressed. Let's talk about Ed, 74, who loved his pickled okra and canned beets. He ate them almost every day, convinced they were helping him get his vegetables in. But his eye pressure kept creeping up at every appointment. His ophthalmologist kept increasing his drops, trying to slow the progression of early glaucoma. When Ed finally looked at the sodium labels on the jars and added it up, he was shocked. He had no idea he was getting over double the recommended amount of sodium every single day, mostly from vegetables. Once he reduced his intake and switched to fresh, steamed, or frozen veggies without added salt, his eye pressure stabilized for the first time in over a year. He didn't change his prescriptions. He just stopped flooding his system with salt. That's the hidden danger here. Most seniors don't realize how much sodium is hiding in their healthy foods. Even low-sodium canned options can still contain hundreds of milligrams per serving, and when those servings add up day after day, the impact on your cardiovascular system and your eyes becomes real. If you're someone who relies on canned green beans, pickled cucumbers, or jarred mixed vegetables, take a look at the label. Look for options marked "No salt added," or better yet, rinse them thoroughly before eating to wash off some of the sodium. Better still, consider switching to fresh or frozen versions when you can. They often taste better, contain more nutrients, and give your eyes a break from the constant pressure that excess salt creates. Remember, your eyes are fed by the same system that feeds the rest of your body. What affects your heart affects your vision. And just because a food is labeled vegetable doesn't mean it's safe in every form. As we get older, it's not just what we eat, it's how it's prepared and how our bodies respond that truly matters. Small shifts can preserve your sight. And when you consider how much you depend on your vision to stay independent, safe, and connected, those small shifts become worth everything. Final thoughts. As we get older, it's natural to put more care into what we eat. We've lived long enough to know that food can be either a medicine or a slow, quiet harm. And while vegetables are almost always seen as a healthy choice, the truth is not all vegetables work the same way for everyone, especially as our bodies change with age. Today, we've looked at 5 specific vegetables that may surprise you. Raw onions, nightshades like eggplant, carrot juice in excess, oxalate-rich greens like spinach and Swiss chard, and sodium-loaded canned or pickled vegetables. Each of these has the potential to quietly work against your eye health if you're not paying close attention. And that's really the heart of this message, paying attention. Because protecting your vision in your 60s, 70s, and beyond doesn't just come down to genetics or luck. It comes down to choices. And the more informed those choices are, the better chance you have of preserving not just your sight, but your freedom and quality of life. Think about which of these foods shows up in your meals regularly. Have you been relying on carrot juice every morning? Are your salads always packed with raw spinach? Do you keep jars of pickled vegetables in the fridge for convenience? Even small adjustments like cooking certain vegetables instead of eating them raw, rinsing off canned foods, or rotating your greens can protect your eyes for years to come. So take this information as a form of empowerment, not fear. You're not being told to give up vegetables. You're being invited to use your experience and wisdom to eat with even greater purpose because your eyes deserve that level of care. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.